I'm Patrick Lancaster, independent war correspondent, and I have been reporting to you from the Russia-Ukraine war front line, from the front of the India-Pakistan conflict, the Armenia-Azerbaijan war, and much, much more. And right now, we're coming to you not far from the Russia-Ukraine war front line, from the studio, where we are looking at another war that Trump supposedly stopped, preparing to explode. Well, maybe already has. Thai F-16s have launched munitions on targets inside Cambodia. Civilians are fleeing by the hundreds of thousands on both sides. Both sides are accusing each other of breaking the U.S. and Malaysia-backed ceasefire. And today we're going to be trying our best to show you what's really happening on the Thailand Cambodia front line, what's happening with the people, what's happening with the military actions, what international media is saying and how each conflicts with each other. We're going to be looking at CNN, India media, French media, Al Jazeera, and Reuters, and showing you what they all have to say, what's been reported on the ground, what's been reported from a studio far away. Unfortunately, like we are right now, but we do our best to bring you as much information as we can, even if we're not on the ground. But as always, we try to get to the point. We're not going to make it to Thailand and Cambodia this time, but tomorrow, hopefully, or in the next days, I am headed to Venezuela to report on what's really happening in Venezuela. I'm going to talk to the people so you see firsthand accounts what's happening. And if the United States does invade, I'm going to be there showing you what's really happening. But I really, really need your support to do this. So you can click on the link on the screen or go down to the pinned comments or in the description. And please help support this trip. It's compared to normal working trips, incredibly more expensive. I mean, the plane tickets are just unbelievable. I mean, we're looking at many thousands. So please go down to the description of the pinned comments, click and donate through the links there to support independent journalism going to the front line in Venezuela. Well, if the front line actually forms and the war starts. We're going to be showing you what we can on the ground there. So again, go down and support my work and support my trip to Venezuela to show you what the real situation is from the point of view of people on the ground. All right, so now let's talk about what has happened and what is happening right now on the ground in Thailand and Cambodia. Overnight into the morning of December 8th, the fighting has appeared to flare up. There's video evidence on this disputed border yet again. According to the Thai army, the Cambodian forces opened fire between 3 and 5 a.m. with small arms and mortars onto Thailand's military positions, killing at least one Thai soldier in the process and wounding many others. And here's a video purportedly released by the Thai military that reportedly shows explosions caused by Cambodian military fire going on to Thai military positions. And Thailand says after these attacks started, they called in air support of their F-16 fighter jets that carried out at least 8 strikes on Cambodian military targets across the border. Now, both sides agrees that these strikes happened, but they can't agree on who started it. Obviously, this is something that normally takes place. And what do both sides have to say? Well, the Thai narrative is it was a total defensive operation after, as I said, Cambodian military fired on Thai military positions. Thai is claiming that Cambodia mobilized heavy weapons, moved combat units forward, and prepared fire support. And this is what took place, as they say, before their at least 8 airstrikes on what they report as weapon depots, command posts, and logistics routes on the Cambodian side. And let's look at the Cambodian narrative. Well, the Cambodian Minister of Defense says the total opposite, that the Thailand forces opened fire on Cambodian military positions at 5 a.m. after days, quote unquote, of provocative actions. And according to them, the Cambodian troops did not retaliate and have not fired back, and they're accusing Thailand of naked aggression. And the former prime minister has called the Thailand military the aggressors and actually supposedly urged restraint of the Cambodian military to not cross any red lines unless absolutely necessary. And as always, the politicians argue at the borders, the militaries fight, and the civilians pay the price. It's being reported now that 385,000 civilians are being relocated on both sides, and only 35,000 of those have actually been put in temporary shelters so far. And there's conflicting reports on the civilian casualties at this point. It's being reported that Cambodian officials are saying there's been 3 civilians injured. Other reports are saying several civilians killed. We're going to be monitoring the information to see what else comes out, but this is the information we have at this moment. And one thing we see in almost every conflict is something gets hit, something gets blown up, and the side that it was on says it's a civilian area, and the other side said, no, we shot at a military target. Well, here we go again. At this time, what is called on the Cambodian side, the border casino. And the Thailand military hit it hard, supposedly. But they say that it was a drone control center and staging area for heavy weapons. So we're going to see what information continues to come out on that particular situation. But so far in this renewed combat, this is the most controversial strike that we can find so far. So as I said, let's talk about what the media has to say about it. What the U.S. media has to say and international media. And of course, CNN comes out against Trump, claiming that this is going to collapse his peace plan between Thailand and Cambodia, which actually they might have a point, and saying how his narrative of ending wars is just a temporary thing, and we can see here how fast these ceasefires just fizzle away. Okay, obviously their narrative is against Trump, but, you know, how far are they off the point here? Let's keep going and find out. And let's have a look at what India has to say about it and what their media is pushing.
Tensions reignite between Thailand and Cambodia. Thailand has launched airstrikes along its disputed border with Cambodia after both the countries accused the other of breaching a ceasefire agreement brokered by US President Donald Trump. Now, as per Thailand military's statement, at least one Thai soldier has been killed and 4 wounded in the fresh clashes that broke out around 2 areas in the easternmost province of Ubon Ratchathani. While Cambodia's defense ministry said in a statement that the Thai military had launched dawn attacks on its forces at 2 locations followed days of provocative actions, and added that Cambodian troops had not retaliated. Similar tension has occasionally exploded into skirmishes, such as a week-long artillery exchange in 2011, despite attempts to peacefully resolve the overlapping claims.
Okay, 2011. Did I miss it? I don't know. Maybe I missed it, but did they just skip talking about the summer clashes? It's a little weird. Okay. What else I got? All right, well, okay, so maybe they just skipped over the summer clashes, but yeah, let's move on. So not too far off from the information I was able to find and bring to you. And let's move on to French media. See what they have to say about the situation, how it differs from what India has to say, or what I have to say about it. Let's see.
So as one of the wars then, the Donald Trump claims he stopped with overnight Thailand launching new airstrikes along the disputed border with Cambodia, both sides accusing the other of attacking first. Cambodia said in the last hour or so that 4 civilians were killed in those attacks. Tensions have continued to simmer since the Southeast Asian neighbours signed a truce agreement back in October after the territorial disputes led to 5 days of combat in July that killed dozens of soldiers and civilians. Well, earlier we spoke to our correspondent Matt Hunt in Bangkok.
Last night, it was reported in the late afternoon that there were some clashes occurring on the border. And as you mentioned, both sides, Cambodia and Thailand, have said that the other was responsible for this, but those clashes escalated quickly.
Okay, wait a second. All right, now the information we were getting, so this is kind of the difference between on-the-ground information and studio information, what's available on internet. This guy's there, he knows. And he says it was yesterday afternoon, but the information we were seeing that started at 2 to 3 in the morning. Okay.
Quickly and spilled over into this morning, which is where we are now. And we can confirm now that 2 Thai soldiers have been killed and a couple of more, at least 4, have been injured. And the Thai army has come out to clarify and say that this was done, that they are currently conducting airstrikes, and everything that you're seeing now is being done in retaliation and with proportionate force to defending themselves against what they say are acts of aggression on them. And so in these acts of retaliation, we are seeing notably F-16 fighter jets being deployed and airstrikes being conducted on what they're saying are key military operation areas for Cambodia. So kind of impromptu military bases, all of which they're saying are meant to protect Thai forces as well as Thai civilians living along the border areas who have been constantly evacuating.
So, okay, you know, and again, how this just shows how good on-the-ground information is. Now, his figures, 2 Thailand soldiers killed and 4 injured. That's different than we saw earlier in the video from the information we were getting. Now, again, this is why I want to go to Venezuela. Why I need to go to Venezuela to give you an independent, on-the-ground look at the real situation. God forbid the United States does attack. War sucks. We hope peace reigns and war does not happen. But you need someone on the ground. So please, go down to the description, the pinned comments, or the link on the screen and support my work. We've got a lot coming and a lot of reports on the ground in Venezuela. So let's get back to it.
Since yesterday afternoon from both the Cambodian and Thailand sides. This most recent flare-up started in May of earlier this year when a Thai soldier stepped on a landmine, and there was an issue with a leaked phone call tied to loose sand. I mean, this has been ongoing all the way up until about a month ago when Donald Trump came and oversaw the signing of the follow-up peace accords, where Hun Manet and Thai Prime Minister Thaksin agreed to a somewhat peace outline where, according to certain points, such as withdrawing troops, heavy artillery, and demining, that we would see peace at the border. However, the blows that they're delivering to each other online through social media, as well as increasing nationalism, has continued throughout this period. And there's been a couple of other smaller incidents leading up to now where this one seems to be the most serious since the signing of those peace accords. And it's notable also that the Thai Prime Minister a month ago said that peace was over and that those peace accords were suspended, which also put the trade negotiations with the U.S. that Thailand is having in jeopardy. So,
very interesting seeing on the ground information. I mean, this is the guy, or a guy like this is who we need to really be watching, not just these people in the studios like me. But you're not going to watch me in the studio for Venezuela. I'll be there if you help. Let's continue.
Up until now, I would say there hasn't been any recent act of aggression that has led to what we're seeing this morning with the F-16 fighter jets. It's very similar to what we saw in May, and I would say that we are at a level of much higher concern than we've been in several months regarding the situation.
Okay. Very, very interesting. Quite different from the India media, who's just relying on secondhand information. Now, let's move forward and have a look at a video from Al Jazeera. And
Cambodia's northwest, hundreds of families from Pritan village take shelter at this temple as tensions rise once again between Cambodia and Thailand.
I was teaching my afternoon classes when we heard the sound. I thought it was the wind hitting the roof. Then I realized it was the sound of gunfire. The students were terrified and ran from the school.
Cambodian officials say one man was injured in the cross-border shootout and several others wounded.
There is constant fear. We couldn't sleep at night.
Both countries accuse each other of inflaming tensions.
So this also confirms from eyewitnesses it started yesterday.
And firing first.
This is Banong village near the border with Cambodia. Thailand says that Cambodian troops fired into this village earlier in the week. Now, observers from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations are on site to monitor the situation.
This week, several Thai soldiers were injured by a landmine, which Thailand says had been recently laid by Cambodia. Shortly after, the Thai government said it would halt implementing a peace declaration, which both leaders signed in Malaysia earlier this year in the presence of US President Donald Trump. Malaysia has now offered to host new peace talks.
Both countries trying so hard for the peaceful. Remember that. We don't blame each other. Both countries are fighting so hard for the peaceful.
At the height of tensions in July, at least 48 people were killed and hundreds of thousands of people temporarily displaced. For those living on either side of the border, a shared sense of uncertainty at what comes next. These Thai farmers stayed in a bunker earlier this week. They say the conflict has disrupted their harvest, with some of them unable to access their land.
We lived peacefully. We used to live like siblings, us and the Cambodians.
At a time of rising tensions, many here wonder if that feeling will return. Jessica Washington, Al Jazeera, Sakao Province, Thailand.
All right, it's interesting to see the progression of really good reports that go from just someone being behind a monitor reading a script to someone being on the ground. I mean, you can just see the real information. Very important, very important. So what's the bigger picture? Why does this conflict continue to erupt on a regular basis? Well, for one, colonial area maps don't necessarily line up to the current situation, the current borders, and the current borders can't really be seen physically because they're unmarked borders that go over 800 kilometers. And this definitely complicates the fact of them understanding who's on whose side. I mean, it can get really confusing when you're going through jungles and mountains trying to understand exactly at many different points where your country starts if it's not marked. And the accusations of certain sides laying new landmines, as Thailand accuses Cambodia of, that regularly injures soldiers. And if they lay a landmine and one side thinks they laid it on their side, obviously this can ignite some tensions. And the weapon factor. There's reports of Cambodia deploying heavy rocket systems, including the Chinese-made PHL-03. And this is in range of Thailand civilian infrastructure. So this also adds to the flames. So what's next? Only God knows, but the possibilities are the conflicts continue to escalate along the border, and instead of just under 400,000 civilians being evacuated, up to 1 million get evacuated, and it turns into an all-out war. We hope not, but it's sizzling and boiling to that point again and again and again. We're going to monitor the situation. I can say, unfortunately, this is an on-the-ground report that I'm not going to be able to do in the near future because, as I said, I'm going to Venezuela and cover the information there. So I hope you help that journalism trip by donating the link in the description and the pinned comments. And if this does turn into an all-out war, we're going to be monitoring the situation, bringing you these studio reports, showing you the information we can find. And if it continues, yes, there's a possibility in the not near future that we will go and cover this for you because you deserve more. And that's what we always try to do. I get as in-depth as possible in these reports, whether they're in the studio or in the field. So I'm glad you're here with us. Be with us here for the series in Venezuela. Support my work. Support my trip to Venezuela right now. Stop, go down and donate, whether it's $5 or $100, whatever. Every little bit helps the situation and pushes my work forward as an independent journalist. I'm going to show you a view from different angles that you're not going to get in other places. And please hit that like button. Comment below in the comments what you think of my work, what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong. And of course, hit the subscribe button if you haven't. And also go down to the description and find my Substack link and subscribe to my Substack blog. There's a lot more information and journalism that goes in there than just on my YouTube channel. So we've got a lot more to come. Stick with us. I'm not perfect, but, you know, I'm here for you. I don't work for any mainstream media. You are my bosses, only you. The ones who support my work, you, my viewers. Please like, share, subscribe, and donate to help my Venezuela trip. We're out.